We'll move to microphone 2, sir. Nope. Back to microphone 1.
My name is Stephen Snyder, Little Red Hen Mills, Alberta. I'm an organic producer. And I guess walking in here tonight, I had a little bit of deja vu. I walked through a group of gentlemen carrying placards and some signs. And I would commend both sides of the argument for being here tonight and showing that they care. Because there's a lot of apathy out there in the border today, and these people are taking up the cause no matter which side you're on. I am on the side that wants to see the monopoly gone. I sympathize with your frustration and how you feel. The arguments that are presented out there were the same ones we used. And I think that's a little ironic when we call for a lack of democratic action, a lack of balance, and a lack of rights, and the other side's calling for it now. I empathize with your feelings. I just take a different side. And I hope at the end of the day you can all sit down and have an off-board beer together and call this what it was behind us. But I do want to ask 2 questions. As an organic producer, I feel that Canadian wheat boards failed miserably in addressing niche markets and allowing us to get export permits and licenses. I've lost a lot of markets over the past. I've paid onerous buyback costs, and I've been really frustrated with that. And the second part of the question is, I'd like to know who carries the liability for the retirement, pension, and benefits of Canadian wheat board employees. Is that part of the liability of Canadian wheat board, or who actually holds that liability?
Thank you.
Thanks for the question, and I do encourage actually everybody to ask questions tonight. It'd be great actually if we hear from everybody on both sides of the debate. I'll answer the organic question. I think Alan will answer the one on the pension liability. On organic, what we've tried to do, and you know, as I'm sure as well as anybody, over the last few years, we've made several changes in how we handle organic. What we tried to do is make sure that we're accommodating and encouraging domestic and export sales of organic grain without damaging the returns that everybody else receives from the single desk, and that's where that whole buyback process comes from. But what we're doing is, because we're pricing to every individual market like this, we mimic that pricing to each market through the producer direct sales system. But we also then say, if you can achieve a premium above what we could get for regular grain into any one of those destinations, then we encourage you to do that and try to make that mechanism to do that as simple as possible. Now, it didn't used to be simple. I think it is simpler now, much simpler now with the changes we made in the last 5 or 6 years, which I won't go into the details of that, but a real stable, relatively low fixed contribution to the pool through the organic fixed rate contract to compensate the rest of the pool participants for the revenue that they're losing. And that is working reasonably well. We're also marketing organic grain directly now as well, to provide an additional outlet for you or any other organic farmer who wants to access those niche markets. So it's like a lot of other things. I wouldn't claim that the system is perfect, that there are always improvements that can be made there, but I think through those 2 mechanisms, through the organic fixed rate contract and through the direct marketing program that we've got, I think it's working reasonably well. I know you may disagree with that, but we've put a lot of effort into trying to make that better.
As to your question about pension liability, this would be one of the wind-up costs that would be incurred if the Canadian Wheat Board was to be dissolved. We've done a fair amount of work on that. These ongoing liabilities would be things like pension liability, staff severance, penalties to cancellation of contracts, ongoing litigation that organizations of our size have going on a continual basis. So we have done our numbers as to what we think those wind-up costs would be. We hired an outside firm, KPMG, to look at our numbers. And while there's a broad range of what they might be, I can tell you that they would be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. We don't think that's fair, that farmers should be on the hook for those costs. So at our last board meeting, we passed a resolution, and passed unanimously, in fact, that those wind-up costs be the responsibility of the federal government. And incidentally, they put out a request for proposals last week to hire their own firm to verify our numbers. So that's where that's at.
Thank you. We'll take the next two questioners at this microphone, and then we'll move on to the next agenda item. Yes, ma'am.
Maggie Melman from Alberta. I was wondering if you could describe, quite often when I'm talking and debating with people who are in support of the dual market, they say, well, nothing's really going to change. We're just going to have the option. When we sell canola, we have no problems. So can you describe in some specific detail how it will be different? And my next question is can you describe what the likelihood of GMO wheat coming into the market would be without organizations like the Canadian Grain Commission and things like that, and how that too might affect us?
Gord?
Thanks for that question too. Both of those. Maybe I'll answer the GM wheat question first. I think we have always taken the position that there should be a clear benefit to farmers before genetically modified wheat is introduced. I think our position has been interpreted sometimes as being opposed to genetically modified wheat. That's not the position. It's let's evaluate what is proposed and make sure that there's going to be a net benefit for farmers. And you have to have a bunch of conditions to make that successful. Roundup Ready wheat was the only one that came close to being proposed for commercialization. And it was pretty clear to us, and I think to most people in the wheat industry, that that wasn't going to provide that net benefit. So we did a lot of lobbying to prevent the introduction of Roundup Ready wheat. I think this is probably one of those issues where, as I pointed out earlier, that it takes a fair amount of resources and it takes some commercial interest to lobby really effectively on that. We had a lot of support from almost all farm organizations at the time. It was a very good coalition. But you'd have one less organization with resources involved in that kind of debate. I think it'd be easier to introduce genetically modified wheat in the absence of an organization like this. On the question of what would happen in a dual market, and I should clarify that what would happen in an open market. I mean, as Alan says, there's a real misconception that there's the possibility that you could have a market that involves a Canadian wheat board that looks anything like it does today, and an open market the way canola and other commodities are sold. That just won't happen. What you will have, if you go down that road, for sure, is an open market. The only question is whether there would be some other participant in that open market that could be some sort of successor organization to the CWB. As Alan points out, the CWB or the successor organization would have to become a grain company, and that implies a whole bunch of things that would be necessary to be successful as a grain company. Even if that happens, you won't have an organization that's going to be successful as a single desk marketer. The single desk will be gone. Those price premiums and the ability to price differentiate, those examples that I went through, will be gone. So the average price that is achieved on the sale, the export sale of wheat, durum, and barley, will be lower in that kind of environment. So I'd say that the biggest impact is that the pie gets smaller in terms of the total amount of money that Canada is going to extract from the market from those sales, just because of the change in the structure. There are a bunch of other changes I think that would happen. I don't know if anybody else wants to comment on them, but transparency of price signals and accountability of people like elected farmer directors on the CWB, those kinds of things change as well, obviously. Does that answer your question?
It does mostly, but just to be very clear, those of us who do want the option of selling within a single desk or a pool would more than likely lose that, as you and Alan both stated, because it won't be a dual market, it will be an open market. So many of us will lose that option.
Thank you. Next questioner.
Hi, Wayne Forbes, grain and cattle producer from West Loch, Alberta. On our farm, we're, and especially the next generation, are quite excited about the chance to have some options as far as marketing their grain, and whether it's to sell to the fellow with the flour mill or perhaps to a feed mill in Montana. I guess the thing that I'm concerned about in my question will be with respect to, there's been a lot of money and effort put into meetings such as this, into a plebiscite that I consider poorly worded. I've got neighbors that are wheat board supporters that are not happy with the wording of that plebiscite. Are we putting some effort into maintaining a competitive wheat board? Because I don't agree that it's the end of the world. Wheat board obviously has a lot of supporters. The strategic marketing that this fellow demonstrated, that can happen. It happens all the time. It happens on our farm. If you've got a voluntary wheat board with considerable support, exactly what you're doing can happen in many facets. So I think some of the things you're talking about are fear-mongering, and I'm just quite disappointed that our money is being spent in that fashion.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think you posed about 3 questions there, and I'll do my best to address them. The first statement I think I heard was that you're looking forward to the changes to the Canadian Wheat Board so that there will be more choices than what there is currently today. I guess I take the opposite view of that. I think with the single desk on, you'll see more consolidation in the industry. Smaller players that rely on the Canadian Wheat Board for port access, for car allocation, those are the players that are going to be disadvantaged. The players that are in the driver's seat are the dominant companies, and especially the ones that have port facilities. So I think in the long run there will be less choices. As to the cost of the plebiscite, certainly there's always a cost to democracy. And I look at it this way. We are pondering some changes to an organization that's been the backbone of the Canadian grain industry for 75 years. The changes that are being contemplated here are irreversible, irrevocable. So if there was ever a situation that justified the need for a plebiscite, this is it. The third question, I've got the word voluntary down here. I think what that question was. The other question I detected, you were talking about, you wanted to be able to sell flour directly to a flour mill. And actually, to small flour mills, that option is already available. Farmers can deliver directly up to 500 tons to small mills and completely bypass the Canadian Wheat Board. That change was made a few years ago. One other thing about the flour industry, and this is another reason why I think we'll see consolidation. It doesn't matter what size of mill that the Canadian Wheat Board sells to, we have an equity pricing structure. That allows the small mills to compete with the big guys. In an open system, that's not going to happen. The big mills will demand volume discounts, and they'll get them. So that will put the smaller guys, smaller mills, I think, at a disadvantage.
We're going to move to the next part of the presentation, then we're going to open it up for questions and answers. So I would like now to call on Alan Oberg, who's going to spend a few minutes talking about some of the impacts of dismantling the single desk and what's really at stake.
Okay, thanks very much, Avis, and certainly very pleased to see the tremendous turnout here this evening. I think I've been at nearly every meeting that we've held across Western Canada. The only one I missed was in Dauphin, Manitoba. But certainly at every meeting we've been pleasantly surprised with the turnout.